Simple past, welcome. In this grammar presentation, we will have a look at the simple past for finished actions in the past. We will have a look at the form, how to make the simple past, the meaning, the usage, why we use the simple past, pronunciation, how to pronounce the simple past. So I would say sit back, enjoy, and let's have a look. First of all, we'll have a look at the form, like I said. Yesterday, I watched a movie. Here, as you can see, this is positive. I watched the movie. Did you like it? Is the question. No, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it is the negative. We'll have a closer look at it in a second now. So the positive, to work. It's not very difficult. That's a regular verb. We have irregulars as well. So I worked, you worked, we worked, he, she, it worked, you worked, we worked, they worked, all just ed, 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 ed. Not so difficult. Of course, there are some exceptions, as always. Let's have a look at the exceptions. So before we look at exceptions, just again, the form positive, he, she, it, he. So subject plus infinitive without to plus ed. Like I said, there are some exceptions. So first of all, verbs ending in an e, just get the d. So arrive, it gets arrive, not arrived with double e. Change, changed, again, it ends in an e, so not changed with double e. Dance, danced, double, no double e, just singular. Then, like in present simple, verbs ending with a consonant and a y, the y changes into I, and here the y changes into IED. So study, studied. So here this is a consonant, the letter D changes into IED. Reply, replied, cry, cried. And here play, plays is not a consonant, it's a vowel, so vowel and y stays the same. No, it's Y-E-D. There are some more exceptions, as always. In English, you also have the verbs with the vowel plus consonant ending. They end in a double consonant. So stop, stopped. So you have, here's a vowel and consonant. It ends up with P, double P, E-D. Not just one single, but double P. Travel, traveled, same principle. Plan, planned. So A-N, double N, E-D. There are, of course, some exceptions. So the exceptions fix, so ending in X, it's just ED. In English, you don't do double X. Same thing, O-W, you don't do W, double W, so it's just one. And here, develop and benefit, you have the stress on the first syllable. So develop, develop. And then when it's the stress on the first syllable, again, you don't have doubling. So develop, benefit, benefit, stress is there. You just have one single syllable. And then another exception, picnic, ends with a C. And if you use the verb picnic in the past, you add a K to it. Picnic, C-K-E-D. These are the exceptions. And then, of course, the verb to be, which is always an exception on its own. So I was, not I be'd. You were, he, she, it was. You were, we were, and they were. So for the verb to be, you have two forms. No, I was, and he, she, it was. Everything else is were. And then, as always, there are some irregular verbs. And here in simple past, there are lots of irregular verbs. So to go, I went, not I goat. To have, you had. He, to drink, he, she, it drank. You ate, we slept, they took. So it's I went, you went, he, she, it went, you went, we went, they went. It's all went, but it's not good. So there's exceptions. And there are many irregular verbs in English. There are no rules for these irregular verbs. We just have to memorize them. If you don't know where to find them, usually you can find the simple past of irregular verbs in a good dictionary. So for example, the Cambridge Dictionary, if you look at the verb take, you will find the past here. It says took. If you don't find, if you type in a verb and you don't find anything, it means that it's a regular verb and there's no irregular form. Or some of the good, some of them are usually found in the back of your course book. If you have an English book, usually in the back somewhere, you have a list of irregular verbs there with the infinitive and the simple past in the second column, basically. And then some more modals. Most modals don't have a past. So can is could. That's a simple past of could. Could is could. It doesn't change. Could stays could. And then must, if you want to use it in the past, you have to change it. You can't use must, you have to use had to. And should, might, may, and ought to, they don't have a simple past form. You can't use them in the simple past. If you have some more questions on modals at some point, I'll make a video on modals as well, but that's for some other lesson. For now, don't worry about them. They don't exist in simple past form. The negative, let's have a look at the negative. So I didn't work, you didn't work, we didn't work, she didn't work, everything is didn't plus infinitive. There's no exceptions, not for he, she, it. It's all didn't. So this, in that sense, again, the simple past is rather easy compared to the present simple, where you still have exceptions with he, she. Here, everything is the same. So let's have a closer look. Again, I, you, she, it, he, we, they didn't work. So subject plus didn't plus infinitive without the to. That's for the regular verbs. And the same thing for the irregular verbs. Didn't go, so not didn't went, so didn't plus infinitive. Both regular and irregular verbs are the same and follow the same rules. Of course, as always, there are some exceptions. The verb to be doesn't need didn't, so I wasn't, you weren't, he, she, it wasn't, you weren't, and we weren't, and they weren't. So again, for I and he and she, there is a difference. Was, wasn't, and you were, weren't. That's the difference. And again, like I said before, modals I couldn't. Again, they don't need to use the verb didn't. And for the other ones, should, might, may, ought to, they don't have any simple past form. So let's have a look at the question. As always, like in present simple, you need to have some inversion. So you have your auxiliary verb first. In the present simple, it's do. Here, it's simple past, it's did. Your subject, and then your verb in infinitive. So did I work? Did you work? Did he, she, it work? Did you work? Did we work? Did they work? Things like this. So it's just did, your subject, and your verb in the infinitive. So again, not so difficult. So again, did I work? Not I, you, shit, did work. No, that's again, so did plus subject plus infinitive without the to in this sense. Same thing, like in present simple, when you have a question word, you put your question word first, where did, and then your subject again, and then your infinitive. Question word, did plus subject plus infinitive. Again, the verb to be, as I said, it doesn't need the auxiliary verb, so you just was I, not did I be. Were you, was he, she, it. Were you, were we, and were they. As always, it's still inversion, so you have the verb to be, and then you have your subject, and then the rest of the sentence that is there. And as always, like I said before, could I, modals verbs don't need an auxiliary verb, and only for could and could, that's it. And the other ones don't have any simple past. Did you have here? is the version for must if you want to use that. But should, might, may, ought to don't have a simple past. When do we use it, or how do we use it? So here's a nice timeline. Last night I watched the movie. That's here in the past. We are now in the present. So we use a simple past to talk about finished actions in the past. It's finished. So we'll have a closer look at it. Again, simple past is used to talk about an action finished in the past. Yesterday evening I had dinner. I watched the movie, brushed my teeth, and went to bed. This is something that the person did yesterday. Yesterday is finished. We are now today. And all actions are finished in the past. The dinner is finished, the movie is finished, the brushing teeth is finished, and the going to bed, everything is finished. And because it's the past, it's finished, you use simple past. Simple past uses time words, again, the same as in present simple, but different time words. So yesterday, for example, I woke up at 6. I woke up at 6 at 6 yesterday. Like in present simple, you can put it in the front or in the back. It doesn't really matter. At the weekend, I slept till 9. I cleaned the house on Sunday. I went shopping last week. I went to a restaurant 2 weeks ago. So these are some of the time words. So yesterday, at the weekend, last week, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, 3 days ago. There are other time words and other phrases, and they're either at the beginning or the ending of your sentence. And again, you can use adverbs, the same adverbs you would use for present simple. You can use also with simple past. Sometimes I took the car to work. I sometimes took the car to work. I took the car to work sometimes. So sometimes you can put at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. That's the option with sometimes. The other ones are slightly different. So usually I took the bus to the shop. I was usually on time. So usually is in front of the verb or after the verb to be. It's the same thing like in the present simple. Before the main verb, after the verb to be. I always arrived on time. I was always happy. I never walked to work. I was never late. I often ate lunch at work. I was often angry. I rarely went to the restaurant. I was rarely sad. So like I said, before the main verb, after the verb to be. That's in positive. Let's have a look at it in negative. It's the same principle. Did you usually take the bus on Sunday? Again, it's before the main verb, take here. Did you usually take? I didn't usually take the bus on Sunday. Again, before the main verb. Were you often late at work? I wasn't often late at work. Again, it's after the verb to be. Here, as you can see, adverbs go before the main verb or after the verb to be in negative. So I wasn't often, or again, after your subject. No, you have the verb to be, then your subject, and then you have often your adverb. Modals and adverbs, again, it's the same principle before the main verb. So, or you could say between the modal and the main verb. I could usually take the bus on time. I could always get up a bit earlier. Things like this. So after the modal verb and before the main verb. It's the same thing again with questions or in negative. Could you always take the bus on time? Always again is before the main verb, and again in the negative as well, again before the main verb. Doesn't change. Now, like in present simple, the pronunciation is a bit challenging, I would say. It's a very similar principle like in the present simple. So the ed has, like in present simple, you have the s, third person s. Here is the ed for all the subjects, you, I, we, for all the different pronouns. Has three different pronunciations, either the t sound, the d sound, or the ud sound. So worked, stopped, and watched, missed. These are all T sounds. The ed is a T sound. because it's the same principle as the present simple. Before the ed is a non-vibrating sound. The k doesn't vibrate, doesn't vibrate. Watch, no vibration. Miss, no vibration. So when you have no vibration, you have the non-vibrating T sound that followed. Missed, watched, stopped, worked. Then you have the D sounds. Again, same principle like in present simple. Grabbed, learned, saw, loved, smiled, played. The sound before the ed here, the b, a, they are vibrating sounds. So the vibrating sound continues vibrating, so you make the vibrating d sound. Grabbed, learned, loved, smiled, and played. Now the ut sound is the one that students most of the time use, and they overuse it. It's only used in two different sounds, as when the last letter is a t sound, wanted, you need to have the little extra sound in between, wanted, or a D sound, decided. You need again, you can't say decided or wanted. It's too challenging, so you have to have a little sound in between. Started, ended. So again, started a T sound, ended a D sound, D sound, T sound. And that's the only reason, if it's T or D at the end, that you need to use the ud sound here. And that's the one that students overuse. They say walked, talked, no, walked, talked, but wanted and decided. So pronunciation, negative contractions, like in the same thing in present simple. You kind of contract things in English when you speak. I didn't work on Sundays, not I did not work. You contract it and say didn't, I didn't, you didn't, we didn't, they didn't. So the did not is contracted into didn't. She didn't study on Fridays. And as always, there's sometimes connected speech. So when speaking, the form of didn't, and the t from the next verb connect, kind of the t disappears, and you only have one t. So I didn't take it, not I didn't take it, I didn't take it, didn't take it, didn't take it. So instead of using two T sounds, this kind of connects and has one T sound. Didn't take it, didn't take it, didn't take it, I didn't take it. So not two different T sounds, it's one connecting sound. And then, as always, like the same thing in present simple or any tenses, the auxiliary verbs did are not really pronounced, unless they're really putting stress, but normally they are in the background. So did you work? Did you work? The words that you hear are you and work. Did you work? The did is very fast and disappears in the background. Did he go to school? He go to school. Did he go to school? Did he? What you hear is did he goes a bit what you hear, and go to school, go, and school are the main things. And the auxiliaries are in the background. When it's negative, on the other hand, you do need to hear, people need to hear that it's negative, so they are more pronounced. So I didn't work, not did you work? Did you? Disappears. I didn't work, didn't. You pronounce it and you stress it, that you didn't work. She didn't study, again, didn't. You need to hear that, because if we don't hear didn't, it's like, did she study? Or she didn't. What was it? She did it? She did or she didn't? So didn't, you need to pronounce it, and it's not in the background. As always, if you have any questions, this was the simple past. But if you have any questions or comments, you can write them in the comments below, and I will help you with any questions that you have or any comments that you have. And if you want some more practice, there's some more practice. You can have the video, look at the video again. There are some more texts there as well. So if you want to read a bit more, and there are some practice exercises if you want to practice using the simple past, the form, the meaning and things like this, you can go click on it. I'll put it in the comments below as well. You can click on it and you can do some more practice there. That was it for me. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. If you have other questions, you can always join me here on my social media or on my website and contact me there. Apart from that, I hope you enjoyed the simple past, and I hope to see you some other time in some other grammar presentation. Enjoy, and bye-bye for now.